Well, congratulations on your win over Edina. Can you give us your take on the game?
You know, it was a playoff type of game in the fact that I thought both teams played with a lot of intensity. It was a tight scoring game where turnovers and defense were key. And I thought the second half of the game we really established ourselves offensively, being able to run the ball when we needed to. And first half we weren't able to do that, partly because of taking penalties and partly because of their play.
Chris Myers had had his third interception return for a touchdown this season. Why is he able to make those big plays like that?
He's just a guy who understands how to play in space. He's a very good zone player in the fact that he drops to his zone and then he reads the quarterback's eyes and breaks on the ball. And some players have a knack for being able to see plays develop in front of them, and other players do better more when they're locked up in a man-to-man type coverage. And he just seems to play well when he can drop into a zone and read the pattern and record. So he's got good anticipation.
How did you feel your defense did against Edina? You touched on it earlier there, but could you expand on it a little bit more?
Well, obviously they're a club that had been scoring a lot of points, and Anders Lee as a player has scored a lot of touchdowns this year. We didn't totally shut him out, but I thought we did a great job of limiting them as far as their effectiveness offensively. We didn't get much in the pass game, and the running game, other than a couple runs, didn't hurt us too much. So it's just a tough offense to defend. Matt Lombardi thought that this year Edina was even better than they were last year offensively, and I think we did a good job of creating field position and allowing our offense to make some plays late in the game.
What were your thoughts of the Wayzata scoring drive late in the fourth to put the Trojans up over Edina?
The drive before we scored the touchdown was, to me, the most impressive drive, getting the ball in our
Why is that?
2 or 3. Well, we had the ball deep in our zone. We had not done much the previous drive or two, and really I thought they had momentum, having tied the game, and at that point we knew we had to go a long distance, or at least change the field position in order to give our defense a chance to rest and get off the field. And that drive, we took the ball and went 96 yards, and unfortunately we didn't finish it. We fumbled on the one, but it really changed the field position and kept our defense off the field for 8.5 minutes. And a lot of times that's as important as the scoring drive that everyone noticed later on.
Sure.
The scoring drive was set up because we had created that field position. Our defense held them then and gave us the ball near midfield so that we had a much shorter field to go. So I would say those two drives together really we kind of look at as one drive.
How nice was it to have a bye this week?
It was big for a couple reasons. One is when you're playing a game, you're always going to get a little bit banged up. So if we would have had to play Tuesday and then come back and play tomorrow, there'd be some aches and pains and sometimes some injuries that would keep players out that we didn't have because we didn't play. And then the second thing is it allowed us to go back and spend 3-4 days just working on basics. Go back to the fundamentals, the things that you do during two-a-days that during the course of the season you won't have time to practice. But when you're not preparing for an opponent, you can work on those little things. So I thought it gave us a chance to do that as well as keep us from getting injured.
What are a couple of those basics, fundamentals?
Just making sure you're taking care of the football. Your fakes. Are you doing a good job on your play action pass? Are you running your routes exactly where you want to run your routes? Little things like that. You can work on fit drills, making sure your linemen are getting their hands in the right position and that they're working some one-on-one skills versus defensive players as well. So, just the little things.
What can you tell us about Cooper?
Cooper is a well-coached team. They look very athletic on film. They have some playmakers, some guys who, if you give them a crack, they're going to go 70 on you. So, we know we have to make sure defensively we play our scheme well and that we each do our job. Offensively, looking at their defensive front, they got some size up front. They have a couple kids who really plug the middle and they attack. I would call them an attacking defense. So they're going to try to bring pressure. They're going to try to get negative yardage plays on our offense, and that's one of the things that we try to stay out of our negative yardage plays so that we stay on down, so we know we're getting 3 to 4 per play. Put us in a good situation to pick up the first down on third.
How did you decide to ask Tim McNiff to be involved with your program a couple of years back?
Years ago, when I was hired as head coach, I met with Jamie Sherwood. He asked me a little bit about what my plans for the program were, and I took over for Roger Lapel, who was my head coach. And my only real guiding philosophy was I was going to make sure we hired good people, regardless of how much coaching experience they had or even football coaching experience they had. We were going to hire good people, people who get along well with other people, people who care about kids. People are just fun to be around, and we've used that as kind of our yardstick to determine when to bring people in. Tim, like a number of our other volunteers and assistant coaches I had heard about in our community as a person who's just a great guy to be around, really cares about kids, and so I called him up and I said, Tim, I have an opportunity here. I don't know if it would ever work for you, but you're the type of person that I hear would work well with other people and kids, and I just want to extend it to you. And he thought about it for a little bit and quickly jumped on it, and it's been a great addition to our staff and our program.
Well, thanks, Coach. Good luck to you and your team on Saturday.
Hey, thanks so much. We appreciate that.